I was watching a couple of BookTube Prize results videos this morning, and I had wanted to jog my memory of some things I said about some of the identical books. So I went on to my results video to kind of flip through and try to find the comments that I had made. And there was an ad on the beginning of my video. I don't even have 700 subscribers. I'm not eligible for monetizing my videos, my channel. And there was an ad for deodorant. And I feel like YouTube is gaslighting me because when I went back to it, it wasn't there. And I'm like, I saw it, YouTube. I saw it. I know what you're doing. And I'm not going to see any money out of that. I think it's digital Armageddon is here. Hey BookTube, it's Kim at Middle of the Book March, and it's Saturday, April 3rd. I hit the button to film without even looking at the date. It's like I don't even care. So, what have I done this last week in a bookish way? Not much, I'll tell you that. I did not finish any books, but that's not true. I shouldn't say that. I've read an enormous amount of pages. So, I'm going to talk about that this week. However, I have 2 updates for some read-alongs, so if you're not involved, just be patient. I'm going to talk about them right now. But I am also admitting to being a buddy read failure. Not because I DNF stuff. I do DNF books all the time. But in my buddy read history, I've DNF'd 2 books. One very early and one not so early. But I think I've only DNF'd 2. But my reason for being a buddy read failure is that I go too fast. And when I start to really love a book, I just want to keep reading and I don't want to stick to the buddy read schedule. Any of my other buddy readers, you know what I'm talking about. And please be nice in your comments. I am a buddy read epic failure. And here's a good example. I am doing a Cromwell 2021 read-along for the Wolf Hall, Bring Up the Bodies, and the Mirror and the Light trilogy. Now, I had spread this out to go through the end of the year, 1 book per quarter. Now, that's not fast enough because I started to get into Wolf Hall and am really loving it. And I haven't even read that much, but I've loved it. And so I went to the group. We have a Voxer group. And I said, how would you guys feel about changing the schedule? We're going to speed it up. There would be too few pages every day to read over 3 months. So the group agreed, and we are going to be reading this through the middle of May. Wolf Hall has 6 parts. So we are reading a part a week. Yes, we're reading a part a week. And our official first check-in is a week from today. So it's Saturday the 10th for part 1. I've already got a jump start, so yeah, of course. But that's going to be our official schedule. 1 part per week. We will get to the middle of May, and then we're going to take a couple weeks off, and we're going to dive into Bring Up the Bodies in June. Sorry. And that's the shortest out of the trilogy, so we'll probably read that in the month. And then The Mirror and the Light will go for 2 months because that's the longest. So that will be July and August. So we won't get done in December. We'll get done at the end of August. So if you are in the Cromwell group, we are reading Wolf Hall 1 part per week. Our first check-in is Saturday the 10th, and we will continue to read 1 part per week until we're done with the book. The other read-along I'm hosting is George Eliot 2021. And this, I did not change this schedule, I don't think. This is the April selection of George Eliot. It's Adam Bede. We are reading 2 chapters per day. There are 56 chapters in the book, including the epilogue. So that's 28 every 2 weeks. Is that right? Yeah. 14 a week. So if we read every day, it's two chapters a day. Now listen, if you're in a read along with me, this is not, I want to finish this by the end of the month, but if you're a faster reader, if you're a slower reader, that's okay. And along with that, in our Voxer group, you can send a comment at any time that if something strikes you, if you find something you love or you hate or you think is hilarious, send a message. But the official check-ins for Adam Bede are going to be on Sundays, and the first official check-in is April 11th. So that's actually going to take us into the first Sunday in May, I believe. But I do want to finish this in 1 month. So those are the 2 read-along announcements. What else have I done last week in a bookish way? I continue to try to get through Roots, which was my March of the Mammoth. And I am now on page 348 of an 800 and something page book. This is very painful to read, as you might assume. So I've read a little bit, I've put it down, I've picked it back up. Once Kunta Kinte got to America and got off the slave ship, it's still excruciating, but it goes a lot quicker because the narrative is a little smoother, in my opinion. However, my initial thoughts of this novel, as I'm not quite halfway done, is it's really long. I don't think it needed to be this long. It's in my opinion, it's kind of bloated, but the story is excellent. I'm really enjoying the narrative. It's a straightforward time frame narrative. There are no multiple perspectives. There's no jumps in time. It starts off when Kunta Kinte's born and it continues through his life. So I'm enjoying that. And I will continue to read it. I'm enjoying that. How many times did I say that? Again, I am also still reading this George Eliot biography. This is a long one, Voice of a Century by Frederick R. Carl. I am at the stage, I don't know if anybody's familiar with George Eliot's life, but she lived with George Lewes for decades, unmarried, and also had quite a circle of male companions / friends / acquaintances that this biographer assumes some of them could have been lovers or potential lovers. So it's an interesting read, and that's the part in George Eliot's history where I am. And Thieves' Truce, this is the last section, the last quarter that we're going to be reading this book. I will probably be finished with it this month because I switched over to listening to it in the car, so I'm listening to the audio, and it's going very quickly. On a side note, I got my first COVID vaccine on Thursday, and it took an hour. So I listened to this for an hour in line, which was great because, I was getting a little impatient, but it gave me perspective because I was able to sit and get uninterrupted time and listen to an extra hour of that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Okay, now for the buddy reads. I have 4 buddy reads currently going on, and I have another one scheduled for the end of the month. I'm not going to quite talk about that one yet. Here's my other buddy read failure. I am reading Greenwood by Michael Christie with Leo from A Little Book Life, and we just had an early check-in today on the first 3. It's divided into sections, so the first 3 sections, and it's divided by years. So we were supposed to check in for the first time tomorrow. We checked in today. And as we both were talking about the book, we both kind of feel similarly that it's a really good read. For me, it's very smoothly written. I'm very interested in the story. So guess what? We're going to speed it up. Greenwood, very quickly, Greenwood starts off as a fairly dystopian near future story set in 2038. And humanity has struggled with an environmental collapse called the Great Withering. Trees have become rare, and due to fast climate change and insect war on trees and plants and the environment, that trees cannot fight fast enough. They are dying. And so it's set in that type of an environment, that type of atmosphere. It starts off in 2038, and then we go back in time to 2008 and then to 1974 to kind of go back in time and get the backstories of our main characters. I was telling, Leo and I were talking about this. For me, it's almost impossible to not compare this to Richard Powers' The Overstory, which I hated, by the way. And Leo and I fought over Voxer, and we vowed we were still going to stay friends. And I hope we do, because he loved The Overstory. And again, that's one great thing about readers talking to other readers is some of us are on polar opposites of whether we love or hate a book. And the variation in different people's opinions and thoughts is variety is the spice of life, right? I love that about being a reader. So yes, we're speeding up this buddy read. I don't know, it could be done in a week. I don't know, we'll see. In honor of Aussie April, I am reading My Brilliant Career by Miles Franklin with Sean the Book Maniac. And we have our first official check-in on the 10th, which is a week from today. Sean notoriously, and I don't say this in a bad way, usually does not increase his speed on buddy reads because he's got far more books going at the same time than I do. So I expect we will read this in the month, and that's good for me because even though it's a short book, I love the first couple of chapters, and I will continue to read at that pace. For me, that's good because I'm not from Australia. I've never been there, and this book was published in first published in Edinburgh in 1901, and then it was published again in 1965. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, sorry. Yeah, because this is a much older novel published in the early 20th century, and there's a lot of Australian dialect in here that I'm not familiar with, so it's good for me to read at a slower pace so I can look things up and get the terms and the slangs and the language variations, so I'm actually really liking that. One of the other buddy reads I'm reading is Joanna Russ's The Female Man. I'm reading this with Britta Bowler, and our first check-in for this is April 9th, a Friday. Again, this is going to be, I've started it, I've read the first few sections, a very fast read. This is a science fiction novel about kind of a utopian world where there's no gender. It's called While Away. On the planet While Away, there's no problem of relations between the sexes because there is only one. There's only one gender on this planet. Is that a utopia or is it? So this is I've been dying to read this, and Britta is the perfect buddy reader because she's a science fiction fan and she's a feminist. So great combination for that one. And then my last buddy read that is currently scheduled is with Heidi from My Reading Life and Noel the Book Rook. We are reading Unsheltered by Barbara Kingsolver. And for this, our first official check-in is Thursday the 8th. We're reading 4 chapters a week, and yeah, I'm almost done, ladies, on my section, so whatever. This is the story of a very old house that an academic family takes over from a deceased aunt, and it was an unexpected move because they were established in the city that they were living in. The husband is a college professor who lost his position, so they have to figure things out fast. So they end up inheriting this really old, decrepit house. There's a lot of family drama, but this is also the type of narrative that goes back and forth in time, because there is the past time sequences tell the history of the house and the family connections. So this is again another very smooth read, very interested already. Barbara Kingsolver is a wonderful author. She's a big favorite of mine. So far I'm really enjoying this novel. And I think that's it. Yes, I'm looking at my calendar. That's it. That's it. And yeah. So yeah. Whew. I was telling Leo on Voxer earlier, I don't know what happened to me for April, but I've got all this stuff scheduled along with my own 2 read-alongs and the These Truths read-along, which I've been involved with for 9 months. And along with These Truths, we also read a fiction and a nonfiction. So there are an additional 2 books that I will be reading, not this month. They will go into May and June when we finish up the read-along. But it sounds overwhelming, and I guess in one respect it could be. I've plotted out my entire buddy read schedule on my Google Calendar. Hold on. Okay, if you can see that, I'm not going to get it any closer because my personal budget is also on there. And my doctor's appointments and stuff like that. But all those colors, most of them are books. And check-ins and read-alongs and buddy reads. So that's how I've been keeping myself organized. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And you know what I also did? I rarely do this, but in the very beginnings of my books, I did this. I wrote the schedule on the first blank page in the books with the sections I'm supposed to complete and the dates for my check-ins. And it's rare that I do that, but I've always wondered, why are there so many blank pages at the beginning and ends of books? And that's a very, I know it's the binding process, but that's the really good purpose for those blank pages, is to write in them. And these are not books, unless I detest them, these are not books that I'm going to get rid of. So who cares if there's a little bit of writing in the front? I've bought used books in the past that are riddled with annotations and highlights, which is my own fault when I'm at a bookshop, because I can flip through it very quickly and see if they're there, because I actually hate reading somebody else's annotations. But I've ordered used books online, and I just had no idea when you are trusting the seller with their descriptions. Oh yeah, it's in very good condition, but I open it up and there's highlights and annotations everywhere. So I'm gonna, not really unhaul any of these. I don't think. These are all gonna be keepers. So if I have a little bit of chicken scratch in the beginning with my schedule, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. So that's it for me today. Yeah, I'm not going to have a lot to talk about in my Bookish Week videos for the next month, unless I finish a book early or something like that. And Greenwood, Leo and I will probably finish early. And who knows? Who knows? So I'm going to have some other content in my Bookish Week videos, and hopefully that'll be a good thing. I've also got some plans for some other videos that I've been pacing myself dying to make, and a lot of content that I'm so excited about. So I hope you'll come along for those. Write a comment down below and give me any of your thoughts and opinions on any of the books that I showed you today, or any of your thoughts on my buddy reads, or buddy reads in general. I would love to hear what you guys think about those, and how you organize and how you run your time, how you organize your time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.